What's going on, everybody? It is Monday night, which means it is time for the Sports Wheelhouse. And I say that because JD has power back. So we are charged up. We are live, ready to talk about all things sports. Check it out. Get those comments in. Here we go. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It is Monday night. JD has power, electricity, Wi Fi. He has got all of the things.
All the things. I've got all the
Which is,
things.
which is exciting.
It's so exciting.
I'm excited for you.
I'm excited to be back in my room.
I feel like I don't have to call you Jebediah Dean anymore because you were
I think
part Amish.
I think I got too much light. I'm glowing now.
What you got the beard rocking?
No, like my headphones are literally glowing because they're blowing out the light.
Oh yeah, you shiny.
I
You
am shiny.
shiny.
So shiny.
Wait, you singing?
You said what?
What were you singing?
I'm so shiny.
Right,
You know,
because
like
I sang "Shiny" from Moana. You know, being a
me.
parent adult.
I am. That's what I was thinking too. From the crowd.
We got issues, man. So this is Sports Wheelhouse. As you know, we spin a wheel. We talk about some stuff, and that's what we're going to do. We may bring a couple topics back from last week if you were nice enough to watch last week, but we got a whole bunch of things. So this be the wheel, and we're going to give it a little spin skidoo.
But let's get it.
Let's do it. Cool. This is the topic that you wanted to discuss.
Oh yeah.
Fantasy football. All you pervs out there, we're talking fantasy football.
Yeah, fantasy football.
So I will tell you that normally I do halfway decent. I hate this year.
Oh man,
because
it's been rough.
It is the year of the tight ends screwing me over.
Listen, it is, man. So fantasy's been weird this year for more reasons than one. And I will honestly say that I believe that fantasy this year is really about the waiver wire. I mean, it is normally like the waiver wire, but it really is now. Guys like CMC down. For one, CMC's been down. Debo had a terrible game last night. I mean, this weekend. A lot of the big names that we're used to seeing are not even doing anything right now. It's almost like the emergence of this new group of kids that are coming in, these fast guys. So it's really kind of cool to see that and kind of see what's been going on. But fantasy's been crazy.
No, we knew like at some point that was going to happen. Like, you know, I got the Monday night game on behind me, and like they're saying like, oh, you know, Travis Kelce's 35 years old now. I'm like, yeah, he is, but like, damn.
Right. Right. I mean,
like I know he was up there, but like, damn.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to like really like comprehend what's going on. There's like a changing of the guard, and I think with the changing of the guard, there comes like, you know, a new level of like, you know, research you got to do to be like competitive in fantasy. And so there's some guys that they buy these memberships and stuff, and they do their research and they can hit the waiver wire and they can find the guys that, or they're just watching the game and they know they get that guy's handcuff. So
that's that's like what Bauer does. Bauer, he literally runs the Dynasty Rewind podcast, like, and I know it's more dynasty based, but like his stuff is crazy with what he knows.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a full-time job, so to sense. So, I mean, if you don't watch college, a lot of times you don't know who's coming in. These rookies that are going to be competitive. Like I had T. Higgins last week, and my friends are making fun of me for having T. Higgins. I think because he's from Clemson, and normally I do kind of lean more to Clemson
I
guys.
got T. Higgins up on there. I got him.
But T, he really went for it this week, and he's going to have more of a bigger role going forward, even though they still have Jamar Chase because they don't have much of a running game. So
they have no running game.
And so that's what fantasy is for me. If you're a fantasy guy, you're struggling right now, try to get on that waiver wire, try to get some pickups, some guys that you wouldn't normally pick up. The Xavier Worthy's one that's going to be really big going forward. He might be really big tonight for sure because he's they're down a bunch of receivers over in Kansas City. So
I mean, like I had people scooping up Kareem Hunt early. Because you could see it trending that way. Like some of them are easy to do. Like when I had my draft, I picked up like some of the running backs I picked up were the number 2 guys, but they were definitely like the 1A guys. You know what I'm saying? Like they were the guys. So let me pull up my fantasy football teams, and you can critique my guys a little bit.
All right, let's do it. We got a little time.
Golden Mike League, and on my Golden Mike League, right, the league that you were a participant in. And then you forgot like you were a participant in?
I had it on another email, so like it is what it is.
Right. So that was fun. That was a good time for you. So like I have in my one league, I had Tua as my quarterback, and that we're gonna get a whole conversation about Tua in a couple minutes. But I was lucky enough, like the way the draft was falling, like I got Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce. And we had that extra flex spot. I figured that was going to get the 2 top tier tight ends.
Right.
Mark Andrews has done less than doo-doo.
So I picked up his handcuff after week 1. I picked up Isaiah
Likely. Yep.
Yeah. So I picked him up after week 1 because I was really expecting him to have like a really big role for my team in fantasy. I've dropped him. Like he got dropped as of yesterday. So I just have Isaiah Likely in both leagues. He got me about 16 points yesterday. Hit 2 tutties. So very similar to what he did the first week. Except the first week he had 4 tutties. So you're starting to see some of these older tight ends start to.
Right, but if I was to show you like my fantasy stuff, right, and you can't see because of the camera blur, but if you were to look at this, you would see that I had T. Higgins, right, and when T. Higgins was still doing all the contract stuff and he had a couple injury weeks, I picked up. Dude's name is.
It's like a weird name.
Yeah, it's. Hold on, I can't pronounce it. Hold on, Andre.
Yeah, that's his handcuff or whatever.
But now T. Higgins is hot, so like, why am I holding on to him? I got Saquon Barkley. I got Dobbs from Green Bay. But he's sus, right? He's literally sus.
He's inconsistent. I mean, and I got Deebo Samuel, and Deebo Samuel is pretty much a home run for most part. But he's been down.
Diggs. Someone told me Stephon Diggs was going to be a bad pickup. I said absolutely not.
I mean, it looked like it was going to be at the beginning, but
I got James Conner in both leagues. That's a good move.
Let's talk about some quarterbacks real quick. So,
I had Baker as my backup for a while.
He's your starter now, Hope.
He's my starter because I am not playing Sam Darnold. I have Sam Darnold as my quarterback in the one league because I was forced. And again, I run a Philadelphia podcast, so I apologize. I did pick up Dak as my quarterback. He was the best quarterback on the board. He has not seen the field. I'm just stashing him away. But he had 22 points last night. Darnold got me 5.
I mean, to be completely honest, man, like there are some guys that you could have got until last week. Justin Fields was still available in most leagues until last week. He's probably not available in any more leagues. He had 19 last night. You had Dak Prescott had 22. But I want to talk about Baker Mayfield. Like Baker Mayfield has
the reemergence of the Mayfield.
Yeah, he's had 2 major big weeks as far as fantasy is considered. 33, I think 33 the week before, and then maybe 38 the week before, and 29 this past. So I'm sorry, 32 the week before that, 10 the week before that, 20, and then 37 week one against Washington. So Baker Mayfield is a guy. If you need a quarterback, if you're still don't have your franchise quarterback, go ahead and pick up Baker Mayfield. He will get you. They have another side of card games. They have New Orleans and Baltimore, but I think that he can do it because he did the same thing against Washington. He put up big numbers.
Well, the thing that makes Mayfield such like a great resource is like having Mike Evans, having Chris Godwin, right? Like he doesn't have to do too much.
No, he's putting it, and on top of it, they got Taysom Hill. So even if sometimes they put Taysom Hill in and they play him all over the field. I'm sorry,
no,
not
no,
Taysom.
you're mixing. You're mixing
no,
the teams.
No, I'm talking about. I'm thinking about New Orleans.
You're talking about Derek Carr.
I'm talking about Derek Carr, but Derek Carr he's sus.
He makes sense, but Taysom Hill is on injured reserve right now.
He is, but what I'm saying is when you got guys like a Taysom Hill or a guy that like to move around, like Amari Rogers or something like that, they like to put in different positions. Like even though he's a receiver, he can also line up in the slot. He can also line up in the backfield, and they'll give him the ball. I thought Travis Etienne was going to be that coming out this year. He hasn't proven to do much. Saquon Barkley is a fantasy love. If you need a guy that's a 1A alpha type of guy for your fantasy team, definitely Saquon Barkley.
I got Saquon Barkley. I got Barkley.
And if you need a receiver right now, I hate saying this because I didn't play him, but Tolbert from Dallas, who caught the game-winning touchdown, he's going to be a utility guy for Dak because he likes to check down, and that guy can kind of stretch the field. So look out for him because Brandon Cooks is going to be out. Not so sure when he's coming back.
And Ezekiel Elliott ain't all that it. So, like, you got to figure out, like, the receivers have got to figure it out somehow.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get a lot of touches with CeeDee Lamb. So you can't work. Like, he's number one. But number two, I think, is going to definitely be a guy like Tolbert.
But what's crazy about the NFC East right now is nobody, except for the Commanders, are really doing anything worth a hot damn. And when we get into our contenders versus pretenders topic, I want to get in more of that. Anything else you got on the fantasy conversation?
No, just do your research. There's a lot of and the last one, Tank Bigsby from Jacksonville. If you have Trevor Etienne, it would not be a bad idea to get Bigsby as his handcuff because Bigsby's right now stacking them or using him as your flex because right now Etienne is catching all the passes and Bigsby's getting it more out of the backfield. He rushed for 101 yards. And he had 2 tutties. And then Etienne ended with about 13 points, I think. Or like 13 points in some leagues with 17 yards rushing. But that means that's all catches. So, just throwing it out there.
All right. I like that. Solid work right there. Well prepared by you.
Thanks, man.
It's almost like you've done this before.
I try to sometimes. Fantasy isn't doing so great for me, but you got on this again.
Speaking of doing it before.
Doing it, and doing it well.
I am getting real. What's it, 9 o'clock? Getting real fucking sick and tired of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Come on, man. Not already.
What do you mean not already? This is listen, we did a show partially last week.
You went off last week.
I've been on some bye week, right? So I don't have like a whole lot of like resurged energy. But this Eagles team is a concern. This Eagles team is a real concern right now because we don't know what's going on with Nick Sirianni other than the fact that he's deliberately trying to lose football games for the Philadelphia Eagles. We do not know at what level Jalen Hurts is, even within the NFC East, and if he's the 4th best quarterback in the NFC East after Danny Dimes put up a huge game yesterday, right? We don't know if they're going to run the ball well with Saquon. We don't know when A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are getting back. We don't know if the defense can stop anything, right? We don't know, and this is a team that was supposed to be a Super Bowl contender. Are you kidding me?
I need you to calm down. We talked about this last week.
Talk me off the ledge because I'm still up on it.
Listen, the ledge. I mean, dude, like you guys are overrated. It's like game 6. This season's so long, and as the years go by, the seasons are longer and longer and longer. And if you're playing at playoff level football right now, that's the teams I'm worried about because you have nowhere to go. When Patrick Mahomes plays at Super Bowl level at the beginning of the year, you're like, oh, this is normal for him. But most teams, that's not normal for. Most of the quarterbacks are resurging. They're saying, and I read something the other day about Jalen Hurts regression. And I would like to throw this out there. Jalen Hurts regression is based on a lot of people's what happened last week. And you got to think about what happened last week was he had 2 of his top receivers out. He was left with his running back and his tight end were his 2 biggest targets. Now, no disrespect to Goddard. And I know Goddard is a good fantasy pickup for someone as far as fantasy points. But Goddard is he's not a franchise player for anybody.
Thank you.
So as we continue on, he had one fantasy player, one like franchise player who they're not trying to overuse. And I was right about that because I read something that somebody put out a couple weeks about like 4 days ago about not overusing Saquon. That was always a plan. That was always a plan from like an insider from the Eagles. And number 2, that's why they're using Kenny Gainwell as much as they're using him. Like, this is my last point I want to kind of bring up about the Eagles situation. As we continue on throughout the season, we're going to start to see stuff about Nick Sirianni not having command of the offense or not having command of the locker room, him and Jalen Hurts being on bad terms. Like, this is just talk when people lose. It's just talk. It's just talk.
Correct.
And so as I look over to the Jets, the Jets are literally imploding on themselves. But nobody's talking about that. The only thing that people are actually talking about is Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni. And Jalen hasn't had an obvious blow up on this guy. Like he hasn't, not like Aaron Rodgers.
And you and I have talked about this. And you and I have talked about this, right? Jalen Hurts is a coach's son.
He's a coach's kid.
Therefore, he's going to keep it professional. Nick Sirianni went to the Phillies game and is now no longer allowed to attend after the bullpen blew it like a 10-cent hooker.
Okay. I get what y'all are saying. And it's just superstition on the Philly side. Like this game 5, let these guys figure it out. Like, even if you don't win the NFC East, who gives a shit? Like, you got a lot of football to play. Like a lot of football to play.
JD, that's not my concern. And this is what I was trying to tell you last week. My concern is not that we can't win games. Because
you just want to win by more.
I don't even want to. If it's a 1, 2, 3-point game, I don't give a shit. What I want to see is a dominant effort. I want to see an effort that I'm like, okay, that was a fight in a good way, right? Every game we've won since September of last year, minus, I think Johnny pointed out like 1 or 2 games where we played well. I apologize.
How many?
Most of the wins we've had have been dang bare knuckle brawl street fights.
How many? Okay, this one. Let's take the last 2 years. How healthy are the Eagles?
Right now, they're pretty damn healthy, coming out of an early bye week.
Okay, so out of you're going to get AJ Brown back, and you're going to get Devontae Smith back, right?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Okay, so you're going to get them back. You're going to go take on the team. You're kind of licking your chop. You're licking your wounds from a loss, and you had to sit with that the whole bye week. Like, I don't think anything will happen, but these guys will come out with their hair on fire. Jalen Hurts will play his best football he's played, and people will forget this shit. Like, we're victims of the present, like all the time. We just happen to do it.
JD, I pray that you are correct. I'm
going to be right.
Yeah, and listen, when you are right, we've got this weird platform, this weird podcast where we can talk about how right you are. But the thing is that over the last year, they have not proven you right. Every single time they have come out to play a game, it has been a win like we saw in Green Bay, which was ugly as hell. It has been a win like we saw in New Orleans, where it was ugly as hell. Or they get stomped like they did by the Bucks. Very few of these games have been enjoyable to watch. And good teams win games in a dominant fashion. The Eagles right now, and ever since losing guys like Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon from the Super Bowl regimes, have exposed Nick Sirianni as a not good football coach. So like last year we were like, oh, it's Brian Johnson. It wasn't Brian Johnson. Then you go out and you get two solid name dudes, right? You get Kellen Moore, who is one of the up and coming guys, and you get the installer of the Fangio defense, Vic Fangio, his gosh damn self. And we look like crap. So at what point is it Nick Sirianni? Because if everything rolls through him like he says it does in every single press conference, at what point does it come back actually on him?
I think it could come back on them pretty badly if he doesn't right the ship. But however, there's a lot of things that you're not bringing up right now, and one is the fact that your corners play 15 miles away from the receivers. They've done it for the last few weeks.
They've done it for the last few years,
and that's what I'm saying. That y'all are saying that Fangio is good, but I don't think so.
I ain't saying Fangio is good.
Oh, but I'm just saying
he's the guy. He's the guy that he's the installer of everything. He's supposed to be that guy.
Well, he ain't. And second of all, your offense is stagnant as shit. And even sometimes when even like a lot of it is on Jalen, because Jalen should take off more. Because in the games that he's took off and run, they've been way more because you have to keep a spy on him. So that means less guys on AJ Brown and less guys on Devontae Smith and less guys off Goddard. But if he doesn't add that back to the repertoire of his game, he's going to struggle because he's not that great of a passer, pocket passer. That's what makes him and Lamar Jackson and Justin Fields and a lot of these hybrid quarterbacks so good is that you can't take your eye off of them. And you can't play man-to-man with your back turned. So if we're going to play this game where we blame everyone, let's look at the true story is the Eagles got badly. They stopped beating people really bad when Jalen stopped running. Hey, when he stopped running, shit got weird.
Ooh. I got this one. Are you implying that in Philadelphia, when we have had black quarterbacks who are more athletic than they are pocket passers, and they have tried to play football the white way, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It has degraded their game historically.
Yes, and then they say they have a regression. That's the word they use. Probably the regression is what they use. But
right.
The regression is that you have
the natural athlete.
Yes,
right. When the natural athletic athlete, the improviser, decides to start playing in a way that makes a very Caucasian-based Philadelphia fan base happy.
You said Caucasian-based?
And they are not as Caucasian-based, and they are not as successful as what got them there. Are you implying that they regress? Or is that what we call it?
That's what they call it. The regression, the word regression is that you were here and you went down. Well, if I played this way one year and now you're telling me to play a way I don't know how to play, of course I got to regress because I got to get used to playing the way that you now want me to play. And some of it was based on injury. Like I think last year he was hurt. He couldn't run that much. And and you never know who's talking in his ear saying, hey, you're not going to last very long in this league if you don't stop running. Well, I'm going to be honest. Here's the truth. Here's the truth of the matter. As a black man, if I see a black quarterback, I think in my mind, I need to watch out for him going to run because he's probably a great athlete. If you take this quarterback and you turn him into a non-athlete who doesn't throw at a high clip and doesn't have great accuracy, then
I'm back. Sorry, my dog was eating trash.
Of course, now I'm gonna be okay with him. I'm okay playing with him because I'm playing him at half speed. I'm playing him with like half of his tools in his tool bag. So you're doing them a favor by making him not a non-runner.
I don't want to hear that they have to develop as a pocket passer. They just need to learn how to protect themselves because you don't hear that shit about Josh Allen.
Nope.
Who?
Or Aaron
Let's be
Rodgers.
honest. Who? Let's be honest. Well, Aaron Rodgers is a whole different conversation, right?
Well, now he is, but before he used to run on people all the time.
Right. But like Josh Allen took a hit yesterday that almost any other player in the NFL is not allowed to return to the game. The way his head bounced off the turf. But again, they're not talking about how he needs to learn how to run safer. But they do that with Kyler Murray. They do that with Mahomes. They do that with Jalen Hurts. They do it with Dak Prescott. They're going to do it with Justin Fields. They're going to do it with Russ Wilson.
Lamar Jackson.
What do a lot of those? Caleb Williams. What do all these guys have in common?
They're not white skinned.
Correct.
Oh, I just want to make sure I said it right.
Right. They need to learn how to play football the white way, which sounds really funny. Sounds like I have a terrible speech impediment, but you get what I'm saying. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Stupid. You stupid. Anyway, Eagles had a bye week. They got the Browns this week.
That's the dub.
If it's not, this is a must-win game, and we're going to get into contenders versus pretenders.
Easy dub
as one of the topics, but this is a must-win game.
It's an easy dub. Like that's the one you walk into, getting ready for it to get ugly.
This is all you, man.
Yo, like this pissed me off. Like this is really this has pissed me off.
Wait, do you need the big screen for your rant?
No, I won't need it. It'll be quick too. So there is like this thing where if anyone watches any type of WNBA ball, you know I love it. I think it's the most purest form of basketball that there is. I found myself very enamored by the Chicago Sky. And dude, like they had like some very early in the league. I mean, very early in the season, they had Cardoza from USC, University of South Carolina, and then they had Angel Reese, who were both monsters on the boards. I think Angel Reese was setting records for rebounding for double doubles and stuff. In her rookie season, so it was very promising for them. They lost both of those players, almost like 3/4 throughout the season. But even before Paris Olympics and stuff happened, they lost a lot of those girls. Two of the main girls, two of the main rookies, and traded off a girl or two. And then they had this girl that was a crash out who learned to fight everybody from the Chicago Sky. And so after this is all said and done, the ownership from Chicago was like, hey, we're going to fire Teresa Witherspoon, who's Hall of Famer, played in the WNBA, has her own accolades, great coach. Fired her after 1 year. And I don't know. I don't really understand why they fired her. I'm not, even from the reports, it was like they wanted to go a different direction. What's the different direction that would have been? You lose your 2-star young players in the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and you're basically playing with some girls who literally could work at Payless. And you freaking lose. Like you lose some games. Like, yeah, it's like she did the best she could with what she had. And she got fired. It's very similar. And I don't know if it's like a color thing or whatever, but I promise you there's a lot of WNBA coaches that are still coaching that suck at being coaches. Like, and Teresa Witherspoon is not one of them. She didn't lose her locker room.
It's the same way with the NBA, though.
Man, I guess they're trying to do it the same way. I guess they want to be the NBA, but that's no way to be, man, because they're not. You'd be hard pressed to find better coaching, better leadership than Teresa Witherspoon. And I hope she finds somewhere to land after this is all said and done.
All right, listen. Here's what I'm gonna tell you, right? The WNBA has been around for over 20 years, right? Or just at the 20 mark?
I think it's at the 20 or 30 year mark, 1 and 2.
Right. So what you're telling me is that they are starting to mirror a lot of the things that the NBA is doing, including putting as much stock. We're getting right back into the race thing. Jesus Christ. Putting as much stock as they can into their white superstars as possible, right? There was a lull for a while where they're talking about like, oh, the WNBA should fold. They go over to Europe. Why are they all of a sudden getting big again? Explain why. You know why. Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. I hate saying you're right about that, but you hit the nail right on the
right. right? Right? Larry Bird in the 80s. He was the one that kept things kosher for when you had Magic Johnson, right? You always talk about, and they're not necessarily like white, but they were still not of the darker skin variety. You have your Dirks, you have your Lukas now. Like you have to elevate these Caucasian superstars to make a league that is very black dominant more palpable.
And I don't want to say it to make sound crazy, but in the 90s, that was Jordan's league. But there were, people talked a lot about John Stockton when it came around to like, the Jazz and the Bulls playing in 95, 96. It was all about John Stockton and Karl Malone and could they stop Michael Jordan? Well, Michael Jordan had Pippen and he had Rodman and he had Steve Kerr and he had dudes like Jordan wasn't losing, dude. Like Luke Longley, Tony Kukoc, he wasn't gonna lose. He finally had a team around him, and all y'all could talk about was how good John Stockton and Karl Malone were. John Stockton and Karl Malone got mollywopped. Like John Stockton couldn't hold Michael Jordan's jock strap if he had it strapped to his butt. So I don't know. Like I'm not saying this to be funny, but like the next one is going to be Cooper Flag, and as a dude, and it was Christian Laettner before him. Dirk Nowitzki, they try to elevate these guys, and I'm not saying Cooper Flag won't be one of those guys. And I'm not saying Luka not there. I'm not saying Dirk Nowitzki's not one. I'm not saying that Steve Nash
amazing players.
I'm not saying Steve Nash. Steve Nash too. Steve Nash won a bunch of like MVPs. Just kids mix, but yes.
But again, why does he get a lot of the credit that he does? Because he's easier on the eyes to accept.
And then you got like guys like White Chocolate, like Jason Williams, guys like that who were really for the culture, and they didn't get any props for real. Like,
nope,
because he was more of a street baller, he had more of like a black type game. He didn't get any recognition. So it's kind of they got to be palatable or whatever for them, palpable for them. But
there's a show I watch called The West Wing, and the phrase is good for all time zones.
Nice. Okay.
Some of these guys are good for all time zones.
Because LeBron ain't bad for business. He's not bad for business. But he ain't exactly. I like that comment.
I love the comment. Barrera checking in, right? Jason Williams is one of the most underrated and underappreciated guards of that era. He was incredible.
Oh yeah.
He just never really played on a winning team.
I mean, he played with like C Webb. Like they had a chance.
He was on that Sacramento team that should have won
with Doug Christie, not Steve Nash, Vlade Divac. They had some guys, but I think Vlade was past his prime. The fact that team never
won anything was crazy.
I mean, that team. I mean, they went up against the Lakers. The Lakers had Shaq and Kobe. Like the Suns had the Suns. Like they were the Suns. He has a ring with the Heat.
Yeah, he does. He does have a ring though with the Heat, but that wasn't because of him.
No,
that wasn't his ring. He won a ring with Sacramento. That's his ring.
That's the Dwayne Wade ring.
Yeah.
And I would like to throw this out there just to kind of add like some context to what I'm saying is that this WNBA league that we talk so much about, it has been a majority run by Asia Wilson the last couple of years. And Asia Wilson is one of the most dominant players, but you're gonna have women like Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi, Stewie. Yep. You're gonna have your good white players. There's nothing wrong. They're gonna be there. They're gonna Sabrina Ionescu, and like the thing with the WNBA is, like I said this multiple times, is the more that the women stay looking like women, those are the ones that are gonna elevate. Because I can't push another men's league because they already have a men's league. You know what I'm saying? So like a Brittany Griner or more the masculine girl, they're going to fall by the wayside in the upcoming years because they're not going to get opportunities because they realize that business model is not going to work. They have a men's league. So to promote men or women in a men's league that look like that is not going to work. It's not marketable. So you're going to see more women like Angel Reese. You're going to see more, even like Sabrina Ionescu, a good looking girl.
I mean,
Caitlin Clark, they're dressing her up more now.
Even think all the way back to I think it was the 96 women's soccer team, right? The one that won the gold or the
Mhm.
World Cup, the one that won the World Cup. Why do we still remember that? Because they won
Mia
the World
Hamm.
Cup, which was great, but because
Mia Hamm.
Brandy Chastain
Oh, Brandon
scored
Chastain.
the winning goal and ripped her shirt off.
What did Mia Hamm do? Nothing.
She
Other
was
than
just
be a
an
beast.
incredible soccer player.
Cam Brink got hurt and she was getting all that attention. Exactly. He's not wrong. Like these prettier girls, like there's nothing wrong being pretty girls. Like don't let me. I don't want it to seem like I'm coming off crazy. But in the league that they're trying to move to, is they want girls that look like girls and girls that act like girls. And you can be a competitor. Like Asia Wilson is one of the best competitors, but you see her in street clothes and you wouldn't think she played any basketball. And so that's what they're going more towards. And to be honest, I'm not mad at the business model because it's hard to promote a league when they all look like dudes. And for a while there, men didn't want to watch the WNBA because they were just like watching like little dudes, and like they didn't want to see that. I mean, unfortunately, and you got to think about you got on all time zones. Like I can go watch LeBron. I'm not gonna go watch Brittany Griner. Like I'm just not going to. Like I can
I
see
would have
KD.
watched Brittany Griner if she was able to dunk the basketball mid-game. Right? Like if I'm going to watch a mini dudes league, I want to see some slam dunks.
Like that's why Candace Parker was so good. Like, and I hate saying it like that.
Candace Parker, Lisa Leslie, and Brittany Griner. Why? Because they had the ability to elevate all the way to the men's game, which is the dunk.
Cheryl and before, like I mean, she didn't get to play with me much, but Cheryl Miller would have been a freaking beast. Like Reggie's little older sister, like she would have been an absolute monster. Cheryl Swoops, you got Dawn Staley. Like these are
Dawn Staley was a hooper.
Hooper out of Philly. What's up? Talk to me.
Becky Hammond,
Young Becky.
She's good for
everyone. And Becky with
all
the good
time
hair.
zones.
You got to go back and watch the Female Dream Team documentary on ESPN, 30 for 30. It's gonna get into that too.
That didn't lose for like 5 years.
Yeah, you got to go in there. We got to watch it. They talk a lot about how they did Rebecca Lobo, like how they treated Rebecca Lobo, because basically Rebecca Lobo got the Great White Hype, treatment too.
Yeah, yes, she did. I remember that actually. So interesting.
No more race talk.
Yeah, seriously, we're getting a little heavy with it. Okay. I would like to have a conversation with you. And I would like to start it off with an SAT related question. True or false? Bronny James is to LeBron as the Antetokounmpo brothers are to Giannis.
No. False.
Show your work.
All right. The Antetokounmpo boys cannot stand alone. Their names alone won't do anything for them. Bronny's will. Because in order to say Bronny, you have to say Bron. And nobody can really say Antetokounmpo because you're not going to say little Greek freaks.
But if Giannis wants his brothers on the team, Giannis's brothers will be on the team.
Yeah, but it's not as big of a deal. Like you saying they got all three brothers. Like I've never seen Thanos play.
But it keeps Giannis happy.
It may keep Giannis happy, but he's only happy because he's on the team and you're never going to see him play. Like he's not asking for them to play. He's just saying put him on the team. LeBron wants his son to play.
Oh God, he can't.
He can. He can. And he will. And they will hide him. And they will find ways to get him in the game this year. Unlike they do with Thanos. And they just let Thanos come in at the very end of the game. He gets his minute and 30 seconds worth of playing time. And he continues on to, just mediocrity. He goes back to the end of the bench, the next game, and the next game, and the next game. LeBron is going to be a topic of conversation the entire year. Unlike Thanos and the other one.
But he shouldn't be.
But he will be.
But he shouldn't be.
You told me to answer true, false, show my work. So I'm showing my work. I didn't even know that Giannis had brothers in the league until somebody brought it up to me like a year or two ago. Like, I have heard nothing but about Bronny since he was in high school. So that's why I'm saying that the two ain't the same.
I just think that this is just like it's truly not fair to this kid. Like, yes, he's making his millions, and yes, he's playing in the NBA, and like any way possible, and like that's cool and all, but like he is never going to be his dad, and that's the bar that's being held for him. Yeah, and this is my point, right? If not for his dad, he is in the G League or he is in college, if that.
Now, what are we? Okay, let's just be honest. Like, what are we doing? Like, nepotism is nepotism. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
So at the end of the day, like, is it cool that like some kid went to high school with you and his dad owned like a car dealership, or his dad owned like a part of a big company, and now he's rich and you've been working your whole ass off the whole time you've been an adult man, and you got nothing to show for it? Like that's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? It's not, life isn't fair. So we got to get over that thing. Now, do I feel bad for him? Not really. He's a freaking man. He was born a millionaire. Like, even if it don't work out, he's gonna be.
And he's got a couple of his own millions now.
He'll listen. The people will make fun of him, and he'll be the richest joke that there is. Like, who cares? Sometimes you don't care. And his dad probably told him, like, "Hey, man, like, you ain't the one. It's your brother that I'm really worried about. You know, he's gonna be the one. So just come get these.
I'm gonna stick around till your brother's in the league.
He ain't got to stick around for him because he's gonna have the skill to get there on his own. So it is what it is. Because he's like 6'8".
Yeah, his brother's actually got some skill.
So, like, I'm not feeling bad for Bronny. Thanks for bringing him.
You didn't really get a chance to talk too much about Cat because you were going Jebediah Dean last week. So, what are your thoughts on Karl Anthony Towns being a New York Knickerbocker?
Well, first of all, Karl Anthony Towns is one of the softest post players I've ever seen in my life. So let's start there. And he didn't play for the USA team this summer, did he? Nope. Soft.
I do not believe so.
Soft as cottonelle. Nope. And at the end of the day, if I gotta put him up against like who he's got to deal with in the West, the East now, he's got to deal with Giannis. He's got to deal with Embiid a couple times a year. He's got to deal with my man from the Celtics, the big dude Williams. That the big guy's name?
Yeah.
Got to deal with Williams. He's got to deal with some dudes, man. And that's not to mention down there in I think it's the Magic. They got a big strong post player, don't they?
Mo Bamba. No, we have Mo Bamba.
No, we have Mo Bamba. We don't got any more. They got to deal with some post players. So I mean, Cat ain't getting off scot free. And on top of it, we got to see how they play together. We don't know for sure.
So is this a needle moving acquisition for you?
I mean, it's surprising. It's more shock value than it is like, oh my God, this makes them the perennial.
I think he was more shocked than anything else. I didn't realize that Karl Anthony Towns was even on the trading block.
Well, after the year they had last year, I wouldn't assume that either. But to be completely honest, Minnesota needed to do something, and I think that like I'm with Mike. Like, I just don't think that like he's gonna be able to take that's like being in that Philly market. Like, you got to deal with a lot of criticism, and even when the stuff happened with COVID, like he showed it, like he wasn't really tough like that. Yeah. Like a guy like Embiid, like Rudy Gobert, like those guys are kind of jerks, so they kind of can deal with stuff like that. Even with the Rudy Gobert touching all the microphones, like he took that junk in stride. Well,
to be fair, that was probably that's gonna be one of the moments that is remembered most about his career.
And it may be, but for real, like he took that junk in stride. Like he could have really like disappeared and went like under the radar. But he like legit, he still goes with stuff, he still plays for his team, national team, whatever. Like, it's not a big deal. And to be completely honest, man, like if I'm being completely honest, like I don't think Cat can handle Madison Square Garden. Especially if they start losing. If they have any type of adversity this year, if it's not like good for him, and it's not because you broke up the Nova Knicks, and then it may or may not work. And he's got to stay healthy. That's another part of it. Karl Towns is not always the most healthiest guy either. So this don't move the needle for me. I still got Boston. And
Julius Randle was either. So like if I'm just comparing 1-to-1, I do think it is an upgrade over Julius Randle.
Julius Randle is more. Julius Randle is more. Is more versatile though. He can play outside. He can pick up guards off the pick and roll. Cat cannot. Cat is a liability now in the pick and roll, and then he still has to defend guys like. Historically, he has not been able to stop Joel Embiid, just like Jokic. So he couldn't do nothing with Jokic in the West. All you did was get a more skilled version. I believe it's a more skilled, more killer-minded version of Jokic in Joel Embiid, who has a plethora of depth now. Like they have a plethora of depth that they didn't have in the last few years.
Yo, the one dude they picked up, and I cannot remember his name.
The French dude.
The French dude.
The one that dunked on LeBron in the World Cup.
That's gonna be a sneaky one.
Listen, all I'm saying is put Cat down there and let Cat run with Joel Embiid during the regular season. And if Joel stays healthy, he's gonna be in for a long year.
Now listen, we got a whole bunch of time to talk NBA. I was curious to get your Cat reactions. When you were Jebediah Deaning, you missed this one.
Yeah, my boy, man.
So,
rest in peace, my boy, Pete Rose.
So, as you know, Pete Rose died last week.
Rest in peace.
And obviously, we know whilst living, he was the scummiest of scumbuckets.
You can't say that now because he's.
I said whilst living.
You guys say since passed.
Whilst living, he was the scummiest of scumbuckets, both with the betting on baseball thing and then doubling down and being a perv. I think what some of his comments are more than anything what kept him out of the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. So we are now posthumously going to have the conversation one time and one time only. Should deceased Pete Rose posthumously be added to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame?
He could be. Should he be? I don't know, man, because you got to remember the internet is now forever. So the things he said and things he did in the last decade or so, they would have, if he didn't say those things, then maybe he could go in. But because he said those things, those are what is on people's mind more. And they care more about those things more so than the betting on baseball, since now you can like literally bet on baseball now. Oh, I don't know, man. I'm going to be real with you. I personally have a different kind of outlook on it. Had he shut up the last few years of his life and not being so controversial, then maybe we're having this conversation and you let him in. But like, this is a guy who said things that are never going to be forgotten by any human, nonetheless, Philadelphia or baseball fan in the world. Like, you can go to the tape now.
That's a really long answer for me to say no. He should not be added posthumously, because here's the thing, right? His numbers are one thing, right? We know that he was, Johnny Hustle, and he has the hits record, and he did all these great things. If he wasn't added while he was alive, it is actually insulting to add him when he is dead.
Oh yeah, because then at that point, you're really saying him bag of shit.
Then you were literally waiting for him to die to say, "Hey, but him as a baseball player was okay."
I mean, it's got your conduct has to count for something. Unfortunately, I tell my boys that all the time. Like, you only get one name,
right? Like, and if you think about it, like, you got your birth year and your death year on your tombstone, and you got this little hyphen in between. His hyphen, man, it ain't worth Hall of Fame. He is not a Hall of Fame human.
Life in the dash. That's what we used to call it. Life in the dash.
Mm-hmm. Man, now, if the wheel is wheeling, the next topic will go right hand in hand. But it is not wheeling. All right.
Oh, it is.
Well, now I was going to talk about something different.
Okay.
I was hoping it would land on Dikembe because that guy's dash is no, right? I was lucky enough to see the Savannah Bananas.
God. Did they have the girl players this time? The female players?
No. Nope. This was their world tour. This was where they went to all the different stadiums. They sold out Citizens Bank Park. So much so that they're going to come back. They played in front of 45,000 banana addicts. I had seats in the Diamond Club.
Nanners.
And it was the most fun I have ever had on a baseball field. It was the most fun I've ever had on a baseball field. Now, mind you, it is not baseball. It is to baseball what the Harlem Globetrotters are to basketball.
Oh yeah, then it's still baseball. It's just everything. It's everything fundamentally that you hated about baseball, but they make it fun.
No, here's the difference about the Globetrotters, though, right? The Globetrotters always win. That's a skit. The Savannah Bananas, when they play, they have the potential to lose because they actually play.
Yeah.
Like the night that I went, they lost.
Happens.
But the night that I went to Citizens Bank Park, they also had Ryan Howard pinch hit. He struck out on an 0-2 slider. Shocker. They had Shane Victorino hit. They had Joe Blanton pitch. They had Jamie Moyer pitch. They ran the Phillies special. They came in to Meek Mills. They understood the assignment.
I feel like you need to go into a place like Philadelphia.
So much so they're going to come back for 2 nights in 2025. They released their trip.
I have a
itinerary.
joke. I have a joke because you brought him up. It's a Meek Mill joke. And they said that Dreams and Nightmares was really written about P. Diddy.
Yeah, I don't know if the Eagles are going to come out to that anymore.
He got married to the game and he said, yes, he do. You got to bless him like you said, I chew.
Yeah, that was but again, they understood the assignment. The Savannah Bananas were an incredible time. I had fun. If you get the opportunity to go see the Savannah Bananas, do it.
I want to see the Savannah Bananas, and I almost went the last time they were in. They went to Atlanta. Yeah, I think they were in Atlanta.
Yeah, I think was it Truist Park?
Yep. Where the Braves play?
It's worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it. It is worth it.
And maybe one day I'll get a little co-op and I'll go see them. You know what I'm saying? You feel me?
The tickets are pretty cheap. I was actually we were actually gifted them from a friend of mine. So
you can't hide money, Chip.
Worth it.
You can't hide money. When you got money, you can't hide it.
So this was a little more time sensitive about a week ago. Right? Who should retire?
I know a guy.
I'm gonna say some names, and you tell me if from the NFL, they are too broken to continue.
Aaron Rodgers, definitely.
Aaron Rodgers. Should Aaron Rodgers call it a day?
Yeah, after I saw him in full doggy mode, downward dog last week, no bueno. Retire.
I just don't know what else he's trying to accomplish.
He might have dementia because he's like arguing with the coach and like not giving hand fives anymore. It's the worst I've ever seen. No.
He's real bad. He's real bad. But he wasn't even on my own. He wasn't on my list until Russell I saw him play these last 2 weeks.
Yeah. He needs to go right where Russell Wilson's going. Okay.
Should Tua Tagovailoa retire?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And not for any like joking reason, but because that dude's
I'm not actually joking at this point.
That dude's literally going to end up being a vegetable if he doesn't stop.
Putting him back on the field at this point
is irresponsible.
Criminal. It's criminal.
It's irresponsible.
It is criminal. Sorry, I'm typing shoe over here. Right? It is criminal. Because number one, we talked about this earlier in the show, right? Where you have to be able to protect yourself on a football field, right? And obviously he is a mobile quarterback. So he's kind of the perfect example of why you have to be able to protect yourself. Tua Tagovailoa does not know how to protect himself. and he has taken ugly headshot after ugly headshot where he has gone fully prone, right? Fully prone zombie hands multiple times.
Do you remember when he broke his hip as a as a teenager
Yeah.
in college? Like he broke his hip in college. Like what are we doing? Like
Do
my
you remember
grandmother,
when Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson made that movie Glass?
he was him. It was about him.
This is the sequel. It's called Tua.
Glass Tua. Glass Tua. Hot Tua.
Oh my god, I hate you right now.
Oh man. Hey, let's just start this out, and it's not trying to be funny, but like if you are a teenage football player and you break your hip like an elderly woman that fell or got up out of her seat too quickly and fell and has fallen and cannot get up, you shouldn't get back in the NFL. Like these are probably telltale signs you should probably quit.
And he's already in Miami, so he's already where the retired folks go.
Listen, just enjoy your compensation from the NFL because now they have that in the collective bargaining agreement. And just go sit on a beach or go sit on a golf course somewhere or go back to Hawaii and like start like a business and call it Big Tours. And everyone's gonna go there. Call it Hot Tours.
Open up an Avery and call it Hawk Tours.
Open up a strip club like and call it Hot Tours. And everyone has to wear the Miami Dolphins jersey.
Open up a pawn shop and call it Hawk Tours.
Dog it. How about you open up a golf center and every time you hit the ball, you gotta say Hawk Tour.
Open up a ballet a ballet shop and call it Tua's Two Tuas.
Two twos for Tuas. Tuas. Like
That's what that's how that man's gonna be talking if they don't stop sending him out there.
He's gonna be out there looking like no disrespect to Muhammad Ali. He's gonna be like Muhammad Ali, but younger than Muhammad Ali got the Parkinson's because too many hits to the head, dude. Like
yeah, I mean, and it's scary. Like you think about like your Junior Seau's, you think about
that's what I'm saying. That's where exactly my mind went was the Junior Seau. If we haven't learned anything, if he didn't know anything about Polynesian people, like that was one of the best Polynesian dudes ever of all time. You need to get your head checked. And if they don't put him out, like at some point, they're going to be liable for leaving him out there.
Yeah, it's over. So, yes, Tua should absolutely retire. Christian McCaffrey.
No, I think he's still got a lot of meaningful football left in him. He just got to figure out how to stay healthy. I mean, he has been hurt a lot, but he is playing one of the more physical positions at the running back position.
But now he is going to Achilles specialists.
I mean, because the Achilles and all that stuff that's all linked. Like your Achilles is linked to your ACL, which is linked to your quad, MCL, PCL, all that stuff. So at some point, man, they got to figure out where the cause is because if you're starting to have tenderness in your Achilles, the next thing to go is your ACL or your Achilles might go. And if you can't play running back without Achilles.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, I agree. He is very talented. I think that he's got a lot of injuries, which is the concern. But the other concern is, like, if you're going to Germany to see a specialist, like that says something, right? That's them forcing you to get onto a field.
No,
that's being forcing.
No, that means like we need to make sure this guy's because he's a huge investment. They paid this man a lot of money.
True. So and you see what the 49ers are without him.
Oh yeah, they
are not the same team.
They're not very good. But at the end of the day, like you never know.
All right, here's the last two names that come to mind. And I didn't realize that the one was still in the league until I saw it. Should they retire? Andy Dalton and Joe Flacco.
Joe Flacco, no. Joe Flacco still got some juice, B.
Flacco's still playing.
He still got some juice. Hey,
no. I'm gonna go one more. Andy Dalton, no.
Andy, because he's playing right now. He's playing in front of this young pup.
He is showing that Bryce Young ain't good,
but they ain't good either. They still losing. They just losing by less.
They're losing by less.
They just losing by less.
That you say there's a chance.
So that all it is that he's just a little smarter.
Pereira, I like this. Ezekiel
Facts.
Elliott should retire before Dalton and Flacco. I agree. All right, we're
You need to
talking
put that damn
Dikembe
spoon
again.
down.
Another one that passed away. I am such a big fan of everything that Dikembe was as the athlete. Dikembe the man,
Yeah.
top
Let's talk
tier.
about it. Let's talk about it.
For what he was able to do for the entire continent of Africa as an ambassador after his time in the league. I mean, he absolutely blows me away because to be that dominant on the court, to literally have people who were born after you stopped playing the game know what the Dikembe is.
No.
I mean, that's iconic.
And listen, it was in the NBA was in a time where like you could literally taunt other people, and all he was doing was.
So here's my question. Because they're in the process of renaming things.
In Philadelphia?
No. No, they're in the process of completely screwing an organization and a city in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's fine.
How about we rename the Defensive Player of the Year award the Mutombo Defensive Player of the Year award? No, he says no. Why does he say no?
Because they're waiting to name it the Rudy Gobert Defensive Player of the Year award. They're going to give it to him at least 4 or 5 more times.
I really hate you.
Listen, man, I just want to tell you what it is.
But we just talked about how Dikembe Mutombo is bigger than basketball.
He can be, but that's a basketball award. give it to someone who's got it in basketball.
I mean, they renamed Kobe Bryant for an award. They renamed.
You think Kobe Bryant and Mutombo are the same?
I think they each had iconic impacts on the game.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying any offensive award should ever be named after Dikembe Mutombo. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that defensively, Dikembe Mutombo is synonymous with defense at the NBA level.
I think the defensive award should be named after Dennis Rodman. Me personally. So did Ben Wallace and Rudy Gobert.
So then you look at the entire body of work. Dikembe's entire body of work
it's
as
not
an
better
ambassador, as a Hall of Famer. Dikembe is it for me.
Listen, you might be, but you're a homer on that one. I'm going to go Ben Wallace, Defensive Player of the Year.
No, I'm even thinking of him as an Atlanta Hawk. As an Atlanta Hawk too.
I don't care what he was. Ben Wallace has championships, brother. He was a 6'8" center. Like, think about that. He was a 6'8" center, blocking shots and winning rebound championships. Get out of here. It's Ben Wallace all day long. I forgot about Ben Wallace. And he's got multiple championships with the Bad Boy Pistons, the new version. That man was on a team with Rasheed Wallace at 6'11", and they had him play center at 6'9". Think about that. And he was dominant.
But he doesn't have.
I don't care about the humanitarian. Make up a humanitarian award from Mutombo then.
I wasn't going to say that. Can I finish?
No,
Can I finish? Can I finish? Can I finish? There are still people today who will be like, oh my God, look, I'm going to throw my paper ball into the trash can. And somebody comes and swats the crap out of him. What do? They don't do the Ben Wallace.
That wasn't a Ben Wallace. He was just blocking the shell.
I know, you know, so I patted my afro.
He didn't do that. He had a pick.
What did they do? Still to this day.
I don't know.
They hit you with the Dikembe.
Everyone knows about Dikembe, but Dikembe
and that's why he gets the award. That's why the award is named after him. Thank you. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I will not be accepting questions at this time.
This is what we did. All right. Whatever. I'm just saying. Make it a humanitarian award.
I will not be accepting questions at this time. Thank you.
I'm just throwing you a
All right. Speaking of questions, and this is going to tie very nicely into one of our other conversations.
Yeah.
And I kind of know how the rest of this show is going to go. So we're going to do the Steelers contenders versus pretenders, and then we'll finish with the Phillies.
Phillies.
JD, your Steelers. What's up?
I'm still feeling hopeful. Like I'm still very hopeful.
They blew it last night.
We should have won last night. I don't think they blew it. Like let's be honest. I think the Cowboys are a better team than us.
Okay.
I think the Cowboys are. I think the Cowboys are a little bit better team than us. They got better receivers and better weapons. And they got a better scheme. Our scheme is about running the ball until you have to throw the ball, and then it's not very good play calling. So, and then he's young. So Justin Fields is young. He's gonna take his lumps. I'm not mad about compete. Like he still competed until the end. So I can't take that away from him. He went down. He drove the ball down and scored on his own legs like a couple of times. So like I'll give him that. Yep. They still should have won. They should have won, and that's a little bit.
Should have won that game last night.
Yeah, they should have won the game, but you can't leave too much time. And as much as I hate that, you still can't leave them that much time to drive the ball down the field and score.
So let me ask this question, right? Because the big offseason acquisition for the Pittsburgh Steelers was getting Russell Wilson. He has not seen the field because of a calf injury, right? And Justin Fields has shown that, you know what? Maybe he can run an NFL offense a little bit. Maybe it's a Chicago thing. I'm from Chicago, right? If they're both healthy, who do you want quarterbacking your Pittsburgh Steelers?
Justin Fields, because you have some longevity there, and you're preparing. And it was always supposed to be Russell Wilson was going to turn over the keys to Justin Fields after he got more acclimated to the offense. But as he's been in the offense a couple months or a couple weeks now, I like the trajectory. Like he's only going to become a better passer. He's only going to become more comfortable demanding and commanding that offense. He's only going to gain more respect from these guys. He's going in there in the trenches and he's getting the shit knocked out of him. Like when he's going in there. So he's showing that he's got the chops. And he's gonna earn the respect of those guys in the locker room. And I don't think Russell Wilson can. And are
you willing to eat that contract and literally pay him to do nothing?
I'm willing to let him go sign with the Seahawks for one game so he can retire as a Seahawk.
But he's not going to do that.
I think it's time for that, though. And I think it's time for him to go be a father to those kids and a husband to Sierra.
But he's not going to do that.
He may not. But if he sits on that bench long enough, it's going to become very evident that they don't want his ass there. He's going to be clipboard Jesus before you know it. And he'll be getting paid just holding. He'll be there holding that clipboard till the day he dies. And it's nothing against Russell Wilson, but I never was a huge fan about Russell Wilson because all you did was you basically handcuffed us again to an old ass quarterback, like you did with Ben Roethlisberger for all those years. Like he's way past his prime. There's nothing left there. There's no more juice to squeeze. Right? You get a little bit more accurate passer, but he can't move. So like right now, our offensive line is decimated. So you have a guy who can't move. All you're doing is walking him into an injury. You get a broke hip like Tua.
I think that Justin Fields needs to remain the quarterback. He's got the moderately hot hand right now. They're playing for him. I think that that Russ Wilson is a very expensive backup to have.
Listen, he's a very expensive paperweight, and unfortunately, we're there. But the only thing we can do now is just he's only got a 1-year contract though, so he's only here for a year. That's true. So after this year, if the experiment don't work, and if you want to just see what happens with Justin Fields for the rest of the year, you're none the wiser. Just letting him just fade off into black. He has to leave after next year, no matter what. You're either going to re-sign him, which you're not going to re-sign him for the money.
Which you're not going to do.
Yeah, and so you get to just let him like mosey off into Seattle for a year and retire in the first game, and they call him Mr. Sierra.
All right. So kind of going along that, we got the contenders versus pretenders. This year is weird.
Yeah. This year is
weird as hell.
I got one more topic as a bonus topic, by the way.
Okay. Let's go contenders versus pretenders real quick, right? So we expected the Dolphins to run the table. Obviously, they're not going to run the table with Tyler Huntley, right? So the Bills are in charge of the AFC East. A very weak AFC East is AFC East, it's very, very weak. They used to not be weak, but it's weak, very, very, very weak. You got the Broncos at 3-2. Contender or pretender?
Pretender. They're gonna. I mean, you got to pick somebody out of there. I mean, just because you have to, but they're pretenders.
Chargers, they suck. Raiders, they suck. Chiefs are going to win the West.
Yeah.
AFC North.
It's
Ravens, contenders or pretenders?
They're contenders.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't imagine a universe where Mark Andrews isn't one of the top 2-3 weapons on the team. Adding Derrick Henry is a cheat code.
And then that likely kid is amazing. Oh, the dude can just go up and get it. So he might be their best receiver, to be honest. To be completely honest.
Browns suck. Texans are contenders. Colts.
Contenders.
Yeah.
I said it. Contenders. I said the Colts, the Texans, the Steelers, all of them could contend for it. Like, it's not, I mean, it just depends. Even Cincinnati could contend for it. Depends on what version of Cincinnati you get.
Yeah, I think the AFC is a little bit closer because there's no like super clear front runners. But I want to move over to the NFC.
Let's do it.
Commanders.
Pretenders.
Really?
JT Daniels, there's not a lot of tape on them, but there will be by the time playoff time comes. By the time mid-season comes, they will have tape on this kid, and they're going to start exposing some of the stuff that he struggles in. I'm not saying I'm a hater, but I don't think that their roster from top to bottom, when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, they're going to be able to beat. I don't think they can beat the Eagles or the freaking Cowboys. And I hate saying that because I hate the Cowboys, but I don't think they.
I think that the Commanders I think Daniels was definitely the missing piece, right? I think that they had a couple running backs, and they add Austin Eckler. I think them getting rid of Daniel Schneider, that them getting rid of Ron Rivera, like they made moves, and they are in an NFC East right now. Like the Giants suck, the Eagles suck right now. Right now, the Eagles suck.
Yeah, right down, but we don't know.
I think the Cowboys are pretenders. I don't think they did enough in the offseason. I think that there is a very easy way for the Commanders to win this division.
I don't think so. I think they still come in third. Unfortunately,
third.
I mean, the Eagles and the Cowboys will both beat them, and they could be. But you got to remember, those division games for the NFC East are still barn burners. Like, it don't matter. Like, it could go either way.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, we haven't gotten into any of the real games yet, but I do see a way where the Commanders could go.
I don't see them going into Lincoln Financial
and going into the playoffs and get slapped around, but
I don't see them going into Lincoln Financial and winning. I don't see them going into Dallas and beating Dallas. So, I mean, and honestly, depends on what version of the Giants you get. Like, if they come,
what version of the Eagles you get.
Yeah, it really depends. Like, I mean, nothing's in stone.
All right. Seahawks.
Trash.
Cardinals.
Trash.
The 49ers are going to get healthy and win that division. And the Rams are going to get that wild card spot. Yeah. The Rams are at 1-4 right now. They're going to get the wild card spot. And the Saints are about to real close to the Chiefs. Sorry. Speaking of which, Vikings, undefeated Vikings.
I bought for $1.
Yeah, I mean, they're here's the thing. You need someone who can get Justin Jefferson the ball, and Sam Darnold can get Justin Jefferson the ball.
Yeah.
Then you add a running back with Aaron Jones. I mean, that's a pretty patented 1-2 punch. I still think the Lions win that division now.
Mike, stick with us, man. I gotta hit you with this real knowledge in them.
Yeah. I still think the Lions win the division. Lions, contenders or pretenders?
Contenders.
Bears, pretenders. Packers, pretenders.
Packers are an interesting bunch too, though. Like, it could go either way with those
games without Jordan Love, so we don't know.
Yeah. We'll see.
And then there's the NFC South.
Hey, don't laugh.
Falcons, Bucks, Saints. I'm not even going to talk about the Panthers. Who is the division winner out of the Falcons, Bucks, and the Saints?
The Bucks.
The Bucks hardcore.
The Bucks got a chance because the Bucks be winning games, and if you get a hot Baker Mayfield, you in trouble. Like, and for whatever reason, the Bucks are just like kryptonite for the Eagles. I don't know
Listen,
why.
I predicted we were going to lose that game. I knew. I just didn't realize we were going to not show up to the game.
Yeah, they didn't even get off the bus, off the plane here.
Russ bus.
Yep, soon.
All right, so go with your bonus topic, and then we'll finish with the Phillies and call it a night.
So if you've been watching any college football this year, if you watched week 6 was absolutely great. If you want chaos and catastrophe and you want madness, and you ain't got to wait till March, you got madness on week 6. Alabama went down, Tennessee went down, Missouri went down. I'm pretty sure USC went down. Dude, it was mayhem. So for a team, like if you love my Clemson Tigers like I do, who started the weekend at 15, we are now in the top 10 in the AP poll. We're in a good spot. Ohio State is up there. Georgia has somehow crept their way back in there. So it's going to make for an amazing end to the season as things start to ramp up, as people are in college play. This week, the big game to look at is the Red River Showdown. Oklahoma,
yes,
Texas.
I was just talking about this.
This is going to be the game of the year because it changes everything if Texas loses, because it throws Oklahoma back into the conversation and turns Texas into a team that now has a loss, and now you can have all these teams with losses.
Not to mention this week you have Oregon versus Ohio State, 2 versus 3.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, you need this. Like this is what we wanted when we expanded the play. We wanted more continuity where they said, well, games won't matter. No, games are definitely mattering now. They matter more because everybody's trying to get that first round bye. In a team like Clemson, or if you had an early loss week 1, week 2, you now have new life because all these other teams are now starting to get their loss. They're picking up their loss now later in the season.
There is a scenario where the Penn State and the Lions are ranked number 2 after this weekend.
There's a scenario, and on top of this, the Penn State and the Lions being ranked number 2 is very, very good for Ohio State. If you're an Ohio State fan this week, you are cheering for Penn State, and you're cheering that you can also take care of business.
Yeah. It is watching some of these games this weekend, like having Ohio State's going to be always toward the top.
For sure.
2 weeks ago, Georgia gets upset by Alabama. We thought that was shocking. And apparently they were like, Alabama's like, you know what? Cool, that was our big game. Because Vanderbilt.
Listen, that SEC, man, it's not a game. It's not. They don't say it's the best conference for no reason, brother. Vanderbilt has historically been at the bottom of that conference, and they just went.
Vanderbilt
took out Alabama. Yeah.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
Vandy. So,
and then I'm watching the game. So I want to put this out there right quick, and I'll be done with it.
Oh, yeah. Can we talk about number 13 real quick?
Huh?
Is that what you're about to talk about?
What?
Number 13 on Alabama?
The 17-year-old? No.
Number 13 on Alabama, the one who epically lost his shit at the end of the game.
Oh, yeah. That dude, he was a crash out. Oh, yeah.
That dude epically lost his shit.
No, the dude that lost his shit was George Pickens when he pulled my man's helmet by his face, but pulled my man's face mask off his face. You see that in the game last night?
No, I fell asleep. I was tired.
George Pickens pulled this guy's face mask like on Dallas, pulled his helmet off, or pulled him down by his helmet, and after the play was over. I was going to talk about the continuity now that we have going into the second half in our like conference play. And how much this stuff is going to matter coming forward, because now you got Miami, Clemson, possibly as a conference championship game. And Miami hasn't been ranked that high in a while. They got a test this next week, I think. I think they got a test. They got a ranked opponent this week. So we're going to get to find out a lot about these guys. And if you've been watching college football like I do, like I'm excited to see how this all goes down and we get the 12 teams, because Even if you make it to the 12, you could possibly still get out. I would love to see Penn State and Clemson in a playoff game, either at Penn State or at Clemson. And I would come to either
Penn
one.
State has still got to get through Ohio State.
They could lose to Ohio State and still make it in.
Always their. You're right, but that is always their kryptonite. And you're also assuming that Ohio State beats Oregon this weekend.
I'm assuming that Ohio State, if Ohio State loses, there's a possibility that Ohio State and Penn State can both get in the playoff. If Penn State wins out, loses to Ohio State loses to Oregon, they can still both get in. Because you can still have a conference champion. The conference champion gets the automatic bid still to the playoffs. So there's a possibility that one of those teams still gets in. The same thing with Clemson. Like Clemson and Miami. If there's a close game in the conference championship and like it's a 1 point, 2 point game, they both can still make it in. And then you still got the same situation with the SEC or the Big 12, depending on how it all works out. But the SEC being so top heavy, now all those teams are patting into one conference. It's going to be hard to tell the top from the bottom if all of them got one loss.
True. And
they keep beating each other. Like, let's say Texas ends up getting a loss. Oklahoma continues to win out. Georgia continues to win out. Alabama wins out. You got 4 one-loss teams in the SEC. And then you got to figure out how they're going to do it. And then you say, okay, well, all 4 of them are in, right? Well, who won the conference championship? Let's say Georgia, Alabama wins it. Or let's say Texas wins it. We took out Ole Miss. Did Ole Miss lose? I think Ole Miss lost too.
Sure. I know Lane Kiffin was more interested in watching the end of the Vanderbilt game than he was his own press conference. He literally was sitting there answering questions like, hold up. This has never happened before. How much time left? How many timeouts? Like he's literally answering questions at the podium about the game that he's watching.
About the Alabama game?
Yep.
Dude, that was big news.
So, speaking of big news, last topic, it is officially Red October. These Philadelphia Phillies are going to give me a gosh damn heart attack.
They beat the Mets. They're 1-1. They locked it up.
They're 1-1. They should be. 2-1. They should be 2-0. Zach Wheeler was dominant. The bullpen blew chunks. They made some adjustments. The bats finally woke up a little bit. Right? It's all good now. We're going over to the Mets. But even that game was the game that they won. It was another cardiac game. It was another game where they almost blew it. It's another game where the bullpen blew it. It's another game where big guys had to make plays in big spots. Playoff baseball is hard.
Castellanos is my guy still.
Castellanos is a dude.
That dude's a dude. And I mean that. Like, that dude's a dude. Y'all better stop talking about Castellanos.
And he's not going to be a Philadelphia Philly next year.
He can't. It's not enough money to go around, right?
There's not enough money to go around. He will not be a Philadelphia Philly next year, even though he is everything that is right with the Philadelphia Phillies.
They may find some money.
They may have to, but that means Schwarber's gone.
I don't know if I can get rid of Schwarber, though, either. Because Schwarber's the big boy hitter. I don't know if I can
There's only so much money.
Hey, Bryce got to take a pay cut, dog. It's time.
Bryce would take a pay cut.
Let's do it. Let's get that price.
But there's still not enough money.
Let's get the price down, bro.
But that's off-season shit. We're talking about our Philadelphia Titans, right? Aaron, Rich Mans, Vinny Velasquez, Nola going to come out hot tomorrow. Mr. Barrera, you know how I feel about this topic.
Let's go. I'm working with Nola tomorrow, man.
I'm rocking with Nola tomorrow, too, because
You got no choice. You got no choice.
The way that I have described Aaron Nola ever since I have become a podcaster is as follows. Aaron Nola is what we know as consistently inconsistent.
That's fair.
He will have dominant games back to back. He'll have dominant games for 2-3 games. He'll have a dominant outing. And then he will completely and totally and utterly shit the bed. What worries me is playoff Nola is even more consistently inconsistent. I don't know what we're getting tomorrow, Mike. I can only hope, as I was told by Mr. Harry Callis, I was told to have some high hopes But we signed him. Like he's our guy. He will finish his career as a Philadelphia Philly. We have no choice but to love him and appreciate him and hope to God that he can do it tomorrow. Because if they go down 2-1, I don't think they win a game 4. I think they need to win tomorrow. They got to build on the momentum of a very emotional win.
Thanks. It's hurtful.
What's hurtful?
And you gotta love October, but you gotta know that October could mean it could be all over. You know what I'm saying? You're either at a parade or you're thinking about the off season.
Look, these Philadelphia Phillies this is their window. Like we always talk about like championship windows. This is their window right here, right now. Right? We have all the guys. The contracts are all lined up. Everybody knows their place. Everyone knows it's the next step down the ladder. Everybody knows this is the time. We need an Aaron Nola outing. And I don't want to put pressure on the dude, but we really need an outing. And Mike's saying he's a good second or third rotation guy, but he's never been the dominant ace Phil's fans want him to be. It's that he wanted himself to be. He doesn't have, I think to be an ace, you have to have that 97, 98, 99 mile an hour fastball. You just do. And he doesn't have that. He's got incredible off-speed stuff, but once they start timing him up, that's the Aaron Nola's kryptonite, when they leave him in that one inning too long consistently. And it's the second or third time through the order, and his breaking ball isn't breaking as much, and he gets lit the hell up. That cannot happen tomorrow. It cannot.
Yeah, he's got to progress. He's got to progress.
He can't be consistently inconsistent anymore.
I'm with you, man. What you got going on this week? Let's talk about it.
I got a bunch of stuff that I'm announcing this week. So it's like senior night for the girls volleyball at Norristown. So I got to announce that. I got to announce some soccer stuff. We got Eagles show on Wednesday night. I'm going on to a podcast on Friday night.
What podcast? Browns podcast?
Cleveland Browns podcast. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That should be nice.
Massage not included.
You stop it right now.
Did he say that? Did he say that?
God,
I know you do. Yes, I am. Yes. Did he really just say that? Yes, he did. I hit my 200th game over the weekend. I'm already done over 200 now. I've umpired a shit ton of baseball, over 200 games, 0 ejections. Goose eggs.
So clap.
Came close a couple times. Used all the tools in my repertoire, but nobody had gotten chucked out of a game because of me this year.
You're up.
So that's what's happening in
your neck of the
in my world,
woods,
along with teaching and all the other things that I do. What you got?
Well, I got power back. As we reel from this thing, man, I honestly wanted to talk about like Western North Carolina. Dude, they got absolutely obliterated. Really obliterated. I mean, I was, complaining on Facebook about not having power and, internet and all that stuff. But man, like they really did. We were blessed, man. It could have been a lot worse here. They weren't expecting it. Hell, nobody was expecting. I think between here and Western North Carolina, there were six reported tornadoes, which tornadoes don't come to this area very much.
Nah.
We had 6 in one storm. And we need to brace again, possibly for the next one that comes, this Milton hurricane that comes.
So Milton looks like it's going to slice across Florida. You guys might just get hit with rain, but I don't know if you guys can handle that right now.
Yeah, like dude, like tornadoes, hurricanes, man, stuff is nothing to play with. And like this Milton looks like it's a category 5 now. And
it is Cat 5.
Yeah, there hasn't been a Cat 5 hurricane hit us since I think Sandy or Katrina. They might be Sandy actually. And you know what Sandy did to New Jersey, the coast of Eastern Coast. So If you have anybody down there, people from Tampa are already leaving. They're trying to get out of there. As
The
quickly as they
Buccaneers
can.
are flying out tomorrow for their game this weekend.
Yeah, like if you have loved ones that are down there, if you have loved ones in Asheville, loved ones in anywhere in these places, that man, these natural disasters are nothing to play with. They're not a respect. They're not a respecter of persons. They don't care if you got money, if you're rich or poor, if you have things, if you don't have things. These things are coming and they're taking people from this world. Like I think 200 and something people were killed in Western North Carolina.
They were.
Just on a serious note, please be praying for people. If you're a believer, pray for people. If you're not, then send well wishes. At this time of year is really scary if you're down here specifically.
Yeah, and like we said, last week, and I know some stuff got lost in translation just because of power outages and things like that. If you have the ability to donate blood, donate supplies, help out in any way possible, we implore that you do. Be a better person, be a bigger person than just yourself. I mean, it's scary ass world, and with what's coming up in the next 30 days, the goal is to divide and conquer the peoples. Let's see what we can do about not allowing that to happen.
Yeah, like all jokes, and we talk about this because we talk a lot of like talks amongst ourselves about like the agenda or whatever case it be. Like we're more alike than we are different. All of us, like
True.
We are way more alike than we are different. Even no matter who you decide to vote for or who you like or don't like we are more like we have more things in common than we have that separate us. And we all feel hurt, pain, and destruction. Those are the universal languages that we all know. Like I always tell people this all the time, and I'm not trying to be funny, but like we always feel it when sickness hits. Like when people get cancer.
Always.
We always feel it because it's like the one universal thing that we all feel. Universally, we all hurt. We know someone that has experienced cancer. Now we're experiencing natural disasters and stuff like that, and like that stuff is also very sobering to the mind when you think you are better than someone. So when that power hit, it didn't matter if you had a mansion or if you had a shack. We all were going without power. We were all in grocery stores and you trying to use each other's generators and hanging out. The coolest thing over this whole time was I got to see that kids still remember how to play outside.
Yes, they do. We didn't get to see back in 2020 because we weren't allowed to.
Yeah, but it was, man, in my neighborhood, there were kids, there were adults in their front yard. There were some neighbors I hadn't spoken to since I lived out here. And it was just really cool to see how everybody came together. People were asking people if they were going out to get ice, if they could grab an extra bag of ice for them. Hey, I got a generator. Come down. We're making food. I gotta make this meat. We're gonna make meat in the neighborhood so it doesn't go bad. So block parties and things like that. And I'm pretty antisocial outside of the podcast realm. But that was really cool to see.
Outside of our square boxes.
Yeah, outside of that, like it was really cool to see people like be good neighbors and just be good stewards of each other. So.
Just being good humans. And like I always think about like our show and like kind of end on a very, very positive note. Like I think about our show, like we spent a chunk of our show tonight, like a white guy and a black guy talking about race and how we both view race, but in a very acceptable and respectful way. So
right,
it is possible to do it. It is possible to do it, and I implore people to do it.
Don't allow that little box you're going to go into in about a month divide you from your neighbor. And you don't have to tell who you voted for. You don't have to talk about it. That is your personal business. That is the two places that you don't have to tell anybody what you did is in the bathroom and in that booth. And I suggest you do that. I suggest you go and do what you need to do, whatever values hits home for you, what you think the person that they put on the ballot, whoever you think that person is, you choose that and you stand on that. But don't allow that to be a reason why you disqualify a person from being a friend or a person that you should be nice to. Like that's crazy to me to do that. Like I never has ever I thought in my mind, like, hey, this person voted for someone, so now I can't be friends with them. Like that's a decision that they make. And that's not a decision that's going to make me love you less. You know what I'm saying?
Right. There's more to it than that is the point.
Facts.
But on that very positive, happy note, I'm Chip.
I'm Drip.
That's JD, aka Drip. This has been the Sports Wheelhouse, and we out here. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.